Ed, we spoke on, I think it possibly was Thursday night, about these anti-lockdown protests, and you were pretty certain that you were going to go on it at the weekend. Did you?
That's right. Yes, I was there. Yes, I was there on Saturday, throughout the whole day. And it was a very good-humoured affair. Quite a number of people were there. There were, throughout the area of Hyde Park, there were different crowds. In the one I gravitated to mostly was probably about 300 people, something like that. I think that's where Piers Morgan was, Piers Corbyn was arrested. Yeah, was arrested. And there were one or two people. I mean, that was quite disgraceful, really. And
well, Ed, let me ask you let me go right to the heart of this. What gives you the right, sir, to do that?
To do what?
To break the rules around social distancing.
Well, I guess the same right that the police were exercising who were there. There were no end.
No. Your role is not the same as theirs. They are there to enforce the law. The law around social distancing is in place.
They were. Well, if you want to put it like that, they were breaking the law because they were all huddling round together en masse, loads of them. So you got to get your facts right. You should have been there to see for yourself what was going on.
No, you're all right. I was really happy not to be there. I was kind of happy to manage my own risk in not deliberately choosing to make life more dangerous for people.
Well, remain in ignorance on what's going on around you if you choose to.
No, I don't think I am ignorant of what's going on around me. I can see and read about what happened to you.
I think you are. I really do think you are. Yeah. I mean, I think you may know that I believe I've had the COVID-19 situation myself. It caused me to have a stroke. It caused me to have pneumonia, also to have a stroke, which is impaired my speech, which is very difficult for me to try and get words out. And I'm having to struggle even now doing it. Yeah. So all of that has occurred to me. I've still not been able to have an antibody test. I gather they just got it out last week. But it won't be confirmed until I've had that. But I'm pretty sure that is.
You think that you've had it to the point where it unfortunately, and I'm glad you're better, but to the point where it facilitated a stroke and loss of speech.
That's correct. Yes, that's correct.
And what we understand is that there's a varying degree of agreement on immunity post-COVID. So if you've had it, how immune you actually are afterwards. There's disagreement on what that actually looks like, isn't there?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So you choose, Ed, with the, and I am glad that you are better, but you choose, knowing that there is no agreement around how immune it makes you, believing that you have had it to the point where you had a stroke and lost speech. That's right. You believe that it is your right to go and stand next to people to potentially give them that to the point where they too may get it, have a stroke, fall seriously ill, possibly die. You believe that that's the right thing to do?
No, I don't believe anything that you just said at all. That's what you seem to believe, but I certainly don't believe that at all.
So where am I ignorant in the point that I've just made? What's ignorant about it?
I'm trying hard to speak properly. You must allow me to speak, because I'm having difficulty because of the condition that I'm suffering now.
A condition you would be willing to pass on to people?
No, you're putting ridiculous... such stupid things. Why? Please allow me to speak and what I want to say, not what you want to put in my mouth. That's not what I want to say. What I'm simply saying is, thank God we've got people like Lord Sumption and Piers Corbyn, Peter Hitchens and so on, champions of the people. May God bless them all. And we are being suppressed in this country. We have been suppressed. So many people. I've not been, because I've not allowed myself to be suppressed, but that's what everybody has been doing, and people are being told lies upon lies upon lies. And if you have the slightest common sense, you can look into those lies and you can see that they are lies. So we've had enough of it. Well, the lie. Here's an obvious lie. You mustn't stand close to somebody 6 feet away, other than 6 feet away. Now, that's a lie. Now, any doctor will tell you...
Sorry, what's a lie?
what you've been talking all the time, what you've been saying, that is an arbitrary thing. There's no science in it at all. And you can tell many scientists will tell you there is no science in that at all, right? So you're just putting these platitudes out.
Hang on, there's science in the idea and in the understanding of the spreading of aerosols and droplets if you sneeze and cough. There are different, depending on the country you're in, there are different arrangements on how far apart you should be, and that may be a political choice based on the science. You're right, but it's not a lie. What are they lying about? The fact that you should be distanced from somebody.
No. I'll tell you because it's a lie. That you're going everywhere and there's markers. Look, you've got to stand behind that marker and stand behind that marker. Yep. There's no science in that. Even in the mainstream newspaper in the last week, the Metro, there was a professor in there saying that that's nonsense. It's just an arbitrary thing, you know. And then they were saying, oh well, we might reduce it to 3 meters instead of 6 meters. You know, who is making these things up?
It's always been 2.
I can tell you the same person who's making these things up that you mustn't get close to 6 feet or 3 feet. The very same person.
No, it's 2 meters.
Pardon?
Yeah, 2 meters.
Pardon? Yeah.
2 meters.
The very same person who had another man's wife coming around his house and getting much closer to a few feet to him, wasn't it? Who had to resign over the last week. Remember him?
Well, I don't think he actually talked about social distancing. What he did was the modelling for Imperial College.
You're buying the lies.
I'm still not clear. I'm still not clear, Ed, about what the lie is. You've talked about the different. No. Now you've got to let me finish. You talk about the different and the disagreements in scientific advice around how far people should stay apart from one another, which, granted, does vary from country to country based on the scientific advice. But I don't think anyone is in any doubt that the way this virus is spread via aerosols from coughing and sneezing, that if you stay away from those and necessary distance away from those, you're less likely to get it. Or is that the lie?
Tom, I've explained to you the lie, but you won't.
No, you haven't. You haven't. You've explained to me how there's a difference in opinion. You haven't explained a lie.
I can't explain to you any more than I've tried to do. But if you're just not taking things up, why don't you do a little bit of research?
Okay, give me. This is fun. This is fun. Give me one more lie. Give me another lie. Give me an easier lie for me in my ignorance to understand.
Well, have a look at Piers Morgan with that other lady with him, Susanna, whatever the name, yeah? Have a look at the thing with them two, talking to Edwina Currie and telling them, insisting that, you've got to do you can have the cleaner in, but you mustn't have your grandmother in, and and they tied her in knots, and they made her look stupid, and the lies. Have a little look.
Okay, which lie? Give me a lie. At the moment, you've told me to look at an interview. What's the lie that's so upsetting you?
Have a look at that. Come back to me if it's not lies, then.
No, you came on to talk about lies. You came on saying they're lying. At the moment, you've given me a difference of opinion and an interview with Edwina Currie.
No, they're telling you that you must do this, and this is science. It's not science. It isn't science. Even Jeremy Corbyn's brother, who is actually a scientist, is shouting out from the rooftops that this is not science. It isn't science. Talk to any scientist and allow them to
What's not science? The cleaner bit.
That's right. It's not science. It's just opinion. It's just picking things out of the air. Take away from 6 feet. Why 6 feet? Why not 7 feet? Why not 6.5 feet? It's nonsense.
It varies in different countries, as I've just told you. It varies in different countries. So you're right. Why is it 6 feet and not 4 feet?
Science doesn't vary in different countries, Tom. Science doesn't vary in different countries.
What do you mean science doesn't vary?
You just said
there is no absolute science around this. Part of the problem of why it is that different countries have done different things is, one, because of the scientific advice, and two, because of the political decisions.
Well, anyone can give you scientific advice, but that's not science.
Well, no, but Ed, you're giving me scientific advice, and I don't trust it because you're not a scientist.
Of course I'm not a scientist, but I listen to those who do. The most eminent scientists within the world. Why aren't you doing that?
Well, I am. I'm listening to other scientists. You're listening to Piers Corbyn.
Have you listened to Rashid Battar, who is...
No, I haven't listened to I haven't listened to people who are anti-vaccinations. No, I don't really intend to.
One of the most eminent scientists in the world. Why don't you listen to... He can tell you about all of this. Why don't you listen to what he has to say? He's one of the most eminent
as I
scientists.
said, I'm not really persuaded by those who already argue that are anti-vaccinations of all kind. Ed, we'll leave it there. Glad you're better.